And I love that music because it means that it's the beginning of another episode of the Supergirl After Show here on the stream.tv. Right. And it's going to be awesome because I like today's episode, and there was a lot of things going on.
Oh my gosh.
But first, let me introduce my co-host to the right of me, Sabina.
Hey everyone, it's Sabina Ibarra with the stream.tv after shows for Supergirl and for Gotham and The Flash.
And the man with the bow tie to the left of me, his name is?
Hi, I'm Dallas James with Action Weather.
Today's episode was called Exodus. I believe it's like the 15th episode of this season, and things are heating up definitely. And also, if you want to talk about today's episode, feel free to hashtag on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, MySpace, or whatever they're making up nowadays. Yes. Hashtag Supergirl AS, and you could join in on the fun. Yeah, especially go on YouTube, and we'll try to give you a shout out, or on Facebook Live right now.
We just tweeted out some of the links, so if you just retweet that for us, that'd be so awesome.
Awesomeness. And I'm going to start off this time a little different because we usually start on this side. Dallas, what did you think of today's episode?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it. We've got some characters that we haven't seen for a while come back. We've got a couple of really interesting battles going on. We've got a lot of action and some really cool effects. It's really just a fun episode.
Sabina?
No, it definitely was a really fun episode. Dallas and I were talking earlier about how crazy prescient the show is with things that are going on in our day and age right now, and just how it brings up those conflicts in a very superhero way. You know, it's fun how fiction can sometimes help with dealing with the times.
And today's episode was really like a continuation of last week's. You know, we got Cadmus. I always mispronounce it there. Cadmus stole the Alien Registration Act. The Alien Registration List. The list, and they're rounding up all the aliens, good, bad. They don't care. Yeah. They do not discriminate. They're just evil guys. They're Luthers.
You know, it's kind of like some sort of alien ban, you know, if we're going to be on the nose there. But yeah, no, I thought it was crazy how the show opened up with like a very innocent family just being ripped apart and ripped away from their home and their life, just being ordinary just because they're on this alien list.
Right. It's such a sneaky way to do it too. It's like they're pulling them over under the guise of, oh, I saw that you have a broken tail light, and then you turn around, they bring somebody to the back of the car to look at the tail light, slap on the cuffs, and boom, throw them in the back of a van and take them off to who knows where. And it's such an underhanded way.
And they're dressed up like police officers.
Yeah.
Trying the people you're supposed to trust, and they're throwing the aliens in the back of a truck, and they are taking them to get them out of here.
Yeah. And you don't quite know what's going to happen yet in the beginning of the episode, and it's so intense, honestly.
So Kara wants to warn fellow aliens around the world, so she figures, hey, if we could get Catco to
run a
report
piece
on this,
and you know, kind of let people know that there's a possibility that this is a thing that's happening. It would help warn people and give them like a chance to prepare. But the editor doesn't want to run it.
Right. Snapper Carr, he's all journalism 100%. You have to have, you know, multiple sources, and I have to be able to vet those sources to make sure.
As the sources, for sure.
You know, and he's just not taking Kara's word for anything. You know, he wants to double check it all. With her.
Yeah, and meanwhile, like while they're going back and forth, they schedule an interview between him and Supergirl. But in the meantime, we have a moment at the bar where everyone is just, you know, having fun, having drinks, and then there's a full-on raid, and our favorite alien, Lyra, is taken.
Yeah, and that's the part that really got me because, you know, when I go to the alien bar, I go to their pickup like everyone else and have a few drinks, or maybe just spend my life there like Mon-El does. And here, boom, the only relaxing time you have, and here comes the bad guys, you know, to abduct
and Mon-El
my friends.
did nothing about it.
Well, of course, no.
Well, of course, yeah.
Where was Mon-El?
You know, there was that cute conversation with Lyra and Wynn, and Jimmy Olsen's
Jimmy was there.
Jimmy
was there.
Jimmy's
Jimmy
back.
was the guardian. He did the best he could. He was only able to get Alex out of the situation.
Yeah, because in the entire thing, Alex decides to, you know, fight the abductors, and she gets in a little bit of trouble. And here comes Jimmy, the guardian. Well, it's the guardian. and he decides to get into it and saves the day. And for some reason doesn't go after the truck.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, oh, I just want to save Alex.
Well, yeah, I think he had to
it was a proximity
prioritize.
thing too.
You know, he was keeping Alex from being harmed, and Lyra got swept away along with the other alien, the guy that was drinking the furniture polish. I think that's what it was. And he just couldn't do both at the same time.
And my poor Win, oh my gosh, I felt so bad for him. He just had like his love ripped away from him.
He finally hooks up, and here comes the evil Luthers. They always block everything, right?
Yeah, totally. But they did end up rounding one guy, one of like the goons, and Alex brings them in for an interrogation.
Yeah,
which gets pretty violent really quickly. She like just takes out all of her anger and frustration on him. And it was actually kind of fun to see the crap beaten out of this guy.
But before that, I wanted to also say that Win is pissed off at her. She's kind of like taking it out. I'm going to get your father type of thing. Because, you know, we know he works, you know, he's working with the Luthers and whatnot. And like you said, she goes and beats up on the prisoner to try to get some information. Real bad. She kicks him somewhere where guys don't like getting kicked. Actually, guys don't like getting kicked anywhere. Just so you know, don't kick guys.
Nowhere.
But he recovers awfully fast for someone that got kicked there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Wink, wink. Dallas?
He did. He recovered a bit quickly. I think he was able to speak. I don't think.
He's like, whoa!
I don't think I'd be able to talk so quickly.
He also landed perfectly. He was asking for that kick.
He was telling them, "I've been implanted with the chip. If I talk, they'll kill me." And Alex is like, "You know, I don't care," and she's just going off. Martian Manhunter has to come in and stop
pull her
her
off of him. Yeah.
It got
and I don't think that was even better because Martian Manhunter is like, dude, you better behave or I'm gonna get you worse.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, that guy must have been so, you know, he's like, who are the good guys here? I thought I was the bad guys. Now I'm getting beat up in jail.
The bad guys in a holding cell thinking, oh my gosh, I thought I was the rough one.
And it makes you think about how the DEO is operating, especially being like a secret organization, which brings us back to Supergirl getting interviewed by Snapper.
Yeah.
She tells him about the alien registry, and he says, well, who had this list to begin with? Which is a very valid question.
Right.
Like, who had this list to begin with? I need to know because we need to report that because we can't report half-truths. Half-truths are still lies.
Which goes back to your current affair, how it's relevant to like what we're seeing right now with the media that need several sources. He said 2. I think you need like 5.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you still don't believe it.
Verified sources.
But we can assure you we saw Supergirl today. That's 3 sources right here.
Yes.
So it's actually Kara who sets up that meeting in the office. He doesn't want to publish the story. Then she moves on and complains to Lena. Is it Lena Luthor?
Yeah.
That, hey, you know, the chief doesn't want to publicize the story about the alien list and all the abductions that are going. And she's like, maybe you should post it on your own blog.
Yeah, like blog about it, report it, and just put it out there.
Right.
And it causes a big problem for Kara, right?
It totally does.
But it also causes a big problem for her mom when they don't like each other.
Oh, no, that's true. That is true. And, you know, Alex, she's, you know, concerned about her dad.
Yeah,
and there for
he
a
appears.
minute. He shows up at her place. He's like, hey, shh, I'm back.
I'm back. I'm trying to help you, you know, tell you what's happening, and gives her this story, and
he tells her, I need you to go into the DEO and get
like,
me
are you willing to do that?
An EM disruptor.
Basically, what he says is, join me, and we will stop this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy. Wasn't that the speech?
And then, she agrees.
That was very close.
Very close. Paraphrasing, but yeah, it was very close.
Yeah.
But this time Darth Vader turns into the Martian Manhunter.
And it's actually a Martian Manhunter. John's testing her and basically says, you're suspended because her judgment is utterly compromised.
Right. And she's suspended.
Yes.
He takes her basically her badge, if she were to carry one, takes it from her, says, you're suspended. You can't work anymore because you're compromised, because you're too worried about your dad and not focused on what you should be, which is the actual alien abductions.
Yeah.
So Maggie gets frustrated. Alex gets frustrated. Talks to Maggie. Maggie doesn't disagree with her, actually joins her. They get an alien volunteer, I think, and to get abducted.
They do.
By the
They
group.
do. There's another scene where we've got this alien.
Just
he's
having a
sitting in his
sandwich
car,
in the
having
car.
a sandwich, doing a little gambling.
Yeah, he's calling in the bets to Vegas.
I think he's
Yeah.
talking to his bookie on the phone, and all
calling
of
in
a
those
sudden,
MMA fights.
here comes those Cadmus guys with the hey, you've got a broken tail light thing, and they're
It's
getting him
never
around
good
back.
when you're told that you have a broken headlight. You're just like, I should have just have my ID and my hands on the dashboard immediately. 'Cause
Right.
You don't know.
But then Alex shows up, boom, and Maggie's there too, and it's a setup. And I think his name was Brian.
This is the alien?
The alien.
Okay.
The alien's name was Brian. He got drug into the van, but they saved him. And
Yeah, but they kind of
Alex-
drag. Maggie drags him out a little bit. Police brutality there.
It was a little rough and tumble.
Yeah. So.
But Alex ends up getting the location of where Cadmus
Of where everything
is keeping the aliens.
And she
doing
decides to take charge.
Right. She
Right?
went a little
She
rogue.
shows up.
And while she's going renegade, we have a scene where Lena is still like offering to help and trying to figure out some information for Supergirl, or I mean for Kara. And as she's figuring it out, like she happens to see the reflection in the window behind her of two of her mother's like goons, like right after her. Who it's funny because Lillian was like, just scare her, but nothing permanent.
Yeah,
And,
what was that about?
Like, I mean, like obviously, like just freak her out, but don't kill her.
But they
and then
end up-
they literally throw her off the balcony. Luckily, Kara was on the phone with her, so Supergirl shows up and catches her. But for a moment there, I was like, oh my gosh, she is going down.
Yeah, and one of our viewers, Lisa Grayson, pointed out that it was very similar to when Superman carries Lois Lane in the movie.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
it
so
was.
I don't know if that was done on
Suddenly
purpose.
comes up over the balcony. It was very reminiscent.
Yeah,
of
it was
that.
just a little odd because it's a Luthor. Just a little different, you know what I mean? So,
just a little.
Yeah, it
they
takes
almost
us
killed
into
her.
mom versus daughter essentially at this point.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It's totally. The mom is now enemies with the daughter, and actually tries. She doesn't want her dead, but she definitely wants her stopped and persuaded to not continue.
So then Alex shows up to the main base and discovers this plot to basically they have a ship that's gonna.
I guess that last week, by the way, because I was like, it's like a Noah's Ark to deport aliens.
Yeah, so they're rounding up
And
the
it was
aliens.
that.
They're
I was
rounding
like,
up the
oh.
aliens and they're putting them in there. And the plot is revealed to her. And they're like, hey, there's no way to stop this. And she's like, I'm going to blow up the joint. And like, you're bluffing. And
No,
she blows
she
up
starts
half the place.
blowing up like
Yep.
the place, which
She
is
was
crazy.
ready.
But like right before that, there was a conversation between her and Jeremiah because Jeremiah, confesses and says, "Hey, look, all this ship is gonna do is forcibly remove aliens from our planet, and I did this for you and the family." He explains that they were threatened, Kara and Alex were threatened if he didn't cooperate, and he was able to dissuade Lillian from just killing people, which is her original plan. So, I mean, there is a moment where Alex says, how could you think that hurting others to protect us would ever be okay with us?
Right.
And I think that's something that would totally resonate with a lot of audience members.
Right, and I think it resonated with Jeremiah because when they're having the standoff, she's got her hand on the dead man's switch. She says, "I've got the power to basically blow this whole place up," and the Luthors are like, "Go ahead,"
They don't care.
And she turns to her dad, and Alex looks at her dad, and she's like, "Are you on my side or what?" And he turns. He switches. He fights for his daughter.
Then he grabs the Emperor, throws him. Oh, no, that's a different.
Wrong one.
Wrong one. Close,
kind of.
but no dice.
But Hank
Well, yeah, in a
Henshaw
way
shows
where,
up.
because it deals with a parent who makes this choice to hurt a big group of other people over their children, and it takes their child explaining to them that this isn't okay, and I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with other families being separated and torn apart just because you want to rescue me. That's kind of like selfish. And he starts to understand the importance of protecting sort of his morality and how that is how his daughter saw him growing up, and him to compromise that was not okay.
Right. It's a huge struggle with the idea. He's putting family first, regardless of who else gets hurt. And she kind of brings it to light. She's like, well, how do you think Mom would feel about it?
Mom doesn't even care about him anymore.
Not at
I
think she still cares. She gave him the distance.
Yeah, she gave him the friend zone.
Yes, his friend zoned bed.
But is it Lena, the mom? The mom is Lena or
Lillian.
Lillian is trying to. What would be the zone when you're not a friend? But it seemed like she was trying to. She had that line
was
where
trying
like,
to hone in
"You're
on
the
him."
Superman we needed."
Oh yeah.
Wink,
that
wink.
was so weird.
Dean
oh,
Cain was
so
Superman.
dirty. He was.
Wink, wink, audience.
Wink, wink on the nose.
Such a line.
Oh man.
So Alex, this is pretty much Alex's episode.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's a good or bad thing because the show's called Supergirl, but she gets in the ship and because it takes off. And
after she's blown up half the building, which was amazing.
She does this running thing that's pretty cool. She runs. Everyone's trying to run for their life, and she's trying to save the people.
She just gets on that ship and starts like opening up the cells and telling Lyra to like help everyone out as she tries to like go and figure out the front of the ship and how to stop it.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. She just took command, took control, and Jeremiah was gonna help her, but then Hank Henshaw shows up.
Yeah.
And there's a fight between those two, and Jeremiah is the scientist that actually enhanced Hank, so he kind of knows what he's up against, but he's not strong enough to really defeat Hank, and Hank takes out Jeremiah with the shot from the laser eye. Doesn't take him out, but he puts him down with it.
Yeah, he defeats him.
So he's not able to help his daughter. He's trying to, but he's not able to do so. So the ship ends up taking off anyway with everyone on it.
Meanwhile, Supergirl's trying to catch up, and we forgot to mention this, but the whole reason why this whole process got expedited was because Mon-El convinced Kara to publish her blog post, which prompted Lillian to just send everyone off into space as she had, even though she wanted more people. And so it's his fault. It's Mon-El's fault. After he burst through the door with his, like, I Love Lucy line, and I was just like, shut your face, Mon-El.
And I thought that was a really good Ricky Ricardo impersonation. I was really impressed with his ability. Yes,
yeah, it was Ricky Ricardo.
His Carter, I'm home.
I think my response is like, I would have punched him in the face.
We're actually going to start a drinking game here on the show, and it's every time he goes in and out the door.
Yeah.
He's always, doesn't he have a key already?
He's always there to, like,
I don't know if
encourage
she's given him a key or not yet.
Well, one time he broke in. Well, no, he just walked in one time, and next time he has a wonton, or
the food?
Yeah, the
I don't
food.
even know what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, he knocked. He's polite.
Does he live there?
I don't know where he lives. I thought he lived in the Alien Bar, honestly.
I did too, but he wasn't there when I got raided.
No, he was not.
Yeah.
No. That was the only time he wasn't there. Is that
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did know about the registry, so he was like, I'm going to lie low because he's a jerk.
I think he's in on it.
Right?
Oh, I don't know. I think
I don't
he's goofily stupid.
Yeah, probably more likely.
So Kara, or Supergirl,
catches up.
Yeah, she's trying to move the ship, and it's going into hyper light speed.
Yeah, as soon as it gets out of the atmosphere, it's going to hit light speed and go to a different galaxy, and it's game over.
And she's struggling with it, but she finds inspiration and strength with her sister looking out, the main window, which is kind of strange because what we understand about Superman mythos, or Supergirl mythos, they're pretty strong, but I'm assuming she was getting further away from the sun. Maybe her powers are getting...
They called this an ocean frigate, and if you're going to make the comparative to like a spaceship to like what we have in the Navy, like a naval ship, a frigate, it's a pretty powerful ship.
Yeah.
I mean, they're nothing to sneeze at. So this actual space frigate, ocean frigate, may actually be really powerful too. And she was having a difficult time slowing it, keeping it from leaving the atmosphere. Like she was pushing hard, and to the point where it looked like she was going to fail. She wasn't going to be able to do it.
I actually have some sort of reasoning for that now. that I think about it. So we know Lex Luthor is always fighting Superman.
Right.
So maybe they borrowed some technology from, well, it was Luthor Corp.
Yeah.
And maybe the ship is enhanced with something that could give Superman trouble. Oh, now it gives Supergirl trouble. That could be a reason.
That could be a theory, yeah.
Could be.
So she ends up saving the day anyways. So that ends up
She
okay.
does. I think with the moral support of Alex, because they had that really sweet moment when they had their hands on the opposite side of the glass, and you could just see like Alex basically willing Supergirl the extra power she needed to just get the job done.
That's the power of love.
Sisterhood. Sure.
Sisterhood, yeah.
So then Kara goes back to, what is it, Catco?
Yeah.
And she's fired.
She is fired.
Yeah, she
Because
never
she
shoulda
published,
hit send.
she published the alien
Thanks,
story.
Mon-El.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mon-El.
Well,
And he was like, well, it's okay, you're Supergirl. And then she was like, no, Supergirl's just what I do. I'm Kara. This is the job I want. This is what I worked for. And he's just like, oh, well, Supergirl's more important. And then he, I guess, realizes that, you know, that's not the right thing to say and starts to sweet talk her. And I'm just like,
He
okay,
does.
Mon-El.
Well, he has that.
Okay.
But then she has that sweet little line where she says, "Well, maybe just being Supergirl and having you is enough." So I think
I don't like
she's-
that.
Well, no, of course you don't. But I think she may be getting closer. There may be something there. I'm hopeful.
and then poor Jimmy Olsen, they have another scene. Jimmy Olsen's back at the bar by himself. Did you?
Yes. Yes. He just happens to be hanging
He's
out.
looking at all the other relationships going, man, that could have been me. Poor Jimmy. And he's such a cool character now that I think about it.
He is. He
growing on
is
me.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
He is. And then, of course, Win gets his girl back.
Yeah, Lyra.
Win gets his girl back. Jimmy's just staring at them, going, man, I'm by myself here at
by
the bar.
myself. Kind of a third
But he
wheel.
did kind of make a move at Alex, I think. He saved her, didn't care about any other alien.
Yep.
Think so? I don't know.
I don't know.
Come on, Jimmy.
And then.
But actually going back to Kara getting fired, there was a whole speech, because I didn't know how to really read Snapper, you know, since he's made his appearance. But, because I was just like, oh, he's so grumpy and kind of like, I don't know, like, how I feel about this, like, sort of guy. And his whole speech about the importance of reporting and having the correct sources and having multiple sources versus just writing something on a whim that she got lucky, you know, with was really emotional, I think, and it hit and resonated with a lot of stuff that's going on, because there was that whole line. It's like, you report something like half-baked, we end up with a fascist president. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. He basically took the argument of old school journalism. It's like, you don't take anything at face value. You do the homework.
Yeah.
You do your research. You get multiple sources. You cross-check those sources. You make sure everything that you're saying is correct. Nothing is off the cuff. Nothing is a knee-jerk reaction to a true journalist.
Like, rules are there for a reason.
But she was right, because she did do that. So, but I do like his character, the way they've developed. At first, he was kind of a jerk. But obviously, she did her research, because...
Well,
She did her research, but she was still...
She was her own eyewitness.
Yeah, she was her own eyewitness.
knew,
And then she also
she couldn't
refused to
say it.
say, you know, the truth about this organization, which, as we've seen in this episode, hasn't been operating the most correctly, you know?
Right. She wasn't going to give up the DEO to the press.
So,
Speaking of,
here comes the kicker, the end of the episode. We see a ship that looks like the what was it, the ocean thing?
it was a similar ship.
It was a similar ship. I thought it was. And we see these hooded, cloaked characters coming in, and we see the cockpit, and it looks awesome.
It does.
And
And we see who's under the cloaks.
And who are they?
So excited.
Oh, man.
Kevin Sorbo and Terry Hatcher.
Yep.
Yep.
Right there. They
And
kind of allude to maybe who they might be with one word, right?
They call him
Your
Your
Highness.
Highness.
Yeah.
Highness.
Your Highness.
Just a bit of a teaser
Yeah.
there as to who they may be.
And they're talking about how the
Totally
atmosphere.
Monel's parents.
Yeah,
They're
but-
probably jerks too.
Probably no, they are jerks.
They probably supplied that ship.
Well, they're
Yeah,
feeling
they're
the
very
power.
similar, yeah.
So at first I
They
thought
are.
they're Kryptonians, but we know that Mon-El's from the planet Awkward. What's his planet? The planet
Draxus?
Awkward. Yeah. So maybe they're from his planet, but there was a teaser that showed that he's never seen that type of ship before. So it may be a curveball.
If he's speaking the truth.
If he is speaking the truth.
So hey guys,
I'm Monel. I'm speaking the truth.
if you guys have any idea who or what that ship means, or if you have any comments on tonight's episode, make sure to join us. Hashtag the Supergirl AS, and we'll try to get your questions in. If not right now, we'll get it in the future. Also, check out our Facebook page. Lance Osfresser doing a wonderful job. But Sabina, I'm going to ask you. So if you had to look into the future, what do you think that ship is? Who's in that ship? And what kind of trouble it's going to bring for our heroes in the future?
I think there's like a bigger conspiracy like here with Mon-El's family, which I'm pretty sure is who they are, and Lillian and sort of like these parents making some not so good decisions that the kids are gonna, challenge and stuff. Although we also, speaking of stuff that we're seeing upcoming, we did get that preview for the musical episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which Lewis and I were like, we're so ready.
And that's going to be the crossover with
Yeah.
Supergirl. So what are we going to do for that episode here?
We're
We'll
gonna
just
have to-
crossover
Well, I
talent?
think we all have to sing and dance a little
Yeah.
bit.
All right.
We
Just
just
a
have to
little
have
bit.
David on, so it'd be the four of us, because we're both the hosts for Supergirl and The Flash, so you can catch us tomorrow on The Flash.
Yeah, we'll be there here for the Flash.
So we'll just bring David on.
Yeah. And so what do you think the ship is?
I'm kind of running the same line. I think it may be from Mon-El's parents, maybe from his planet, probably maybe even his parents. Maybe they tracked his ship, his shuttle here. Whether or not he's actually in on it or not, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm really, really wanting to find out.
Look, guys, all I can say is this. If he's lying to Kara...
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, but he's got to get the boot.
I hope not.
Don't you think?
I hope he's not. I hope he's just, like I said, just
You're Team
kind of
Caramel.
silly.
I'm
A little bit.
Kara.
Yes.
Hey guys, this concludes today's episode, or this episode of Supergirl after show. After show, I want to say after hours again. I'm all tongue-tied.
That's probably going on.
Sabina, let them know where they can
Mon-El's
find you.
trying to get it in before he's discovered. But people can find me on Twitter at Sabina has no R, and tomorrow on the Flash After Show.
Dallas?
I'm at Dallas James ACT on Twitter, and you can catch me actually tomorrow night on the Legends of Tomorrow after show.
Sounds awesome. And my name is Louis Love. I'm tonight's host, and you could catch me on Nuke the Fridge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or a local donut shop, because I like donuts.
Oh, me too.
Oh, yes.
All right, donuts
Yeah.
for everyone.
Donuts.
Okay.
Next Monday,
Branded
donuts on me.
donuts.
Watch us eat donuts,
Donuts.
after we watch Supergirl.
All right.
The Stream.tv,
everyone.
baby. See you
Good night.
later.